Hey guys, I took a little break from social media during the holidays, took a little detox from being online constantly, chronically online. But it was very peaceful, it's really great. It felt really good, but it's also nice to be back. I'm filming on my iPad this time. I want to see if it's better than filming from my phone, so let me know what you guys think. But I want to talk about a specific topic, and that is people saying Christianity is a peaceful religion, which I strongly disagree with, and I wanted to talk about why. The reason I was thinking about this topic is because of this video I saw on TikTok. So I want to play the clips that I had thoughts about. It's only going to be the first half of the video because the second half is more about not so much about religious stuff, and I kind of wanted to focus on the religious aspect of it. So let's get to the first part of her video.
Well, Zohran Mamdani is officially the mayor of New York City, and he's already done three hilariously alarming things. Starting off strong at number one, Mamdani was sworn in on the Quran.
Okay, so first of all, she has an issue with somebody being sworn in with a Quran, which is obviously ridiculous, but we already know that Christian nationalists hate the idea of other religions even existing, and people having the right to even express their different religious beliefs, especially if they feel like their Christian nationalism is being threatened. So she brings up points as to why she thinks this is an issue.
Which says men have complete authority of up to 4 wives, but women can only have one husband.
I find it interesting that this would even be a criticism because I know this person is Christian, it says it in their bio. There are so many instances of the same thing in the Bible of men having multiple wives and even having concubines. And to my knowledge, all of the women in the Bible only have one husband at a time. So I have no idea why she brought this up as if this isn't a common occurrence in the Bible. Um, I just don't know why this is an issue for her with Islam if it's not an issue in Christianity. But let's go to the next point.
It says men, go ahead and beat your wives if they're bad.
This part kind of reminds me of when the Bible basically says it's chill to beat your slave as long as they don't die within a day or two because of you beating them.
It says women are not equal to men. In fact, they're half-brain.
So to me, this is no different than women being told in Christianity that they need to submit to men, they need to submit to their husbands, and only men should have leadership roles in the church and whatever, because men are natural born leaders. Now, they won't straight up say men are more intelligent than women. They'll say it in ways that sugarcoat it, like, men just have the ability to make better decisions. Men just have the ability to lead better than women. And they expect us to accept that and be like, you're right. I should submit to my husband. I should submit to men because they're just better at making choices and leading. To me, that's the same thing as what she said is being said in the Quran. Just like men are smarter, men are better at making decisions, blah, 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 blah. It's not surprising that they have these two things in common because they're built on patriarchal systems. This requires the oppression of women. And so, yeah, they're going to paint this narrative that men are naturally smarter, men are more intelligent, they're better at making decisions, they're better at leading, which doesn't have any proof behind it. It's just how their systems are created. These religions were created by men, so it makes sense that these religions have this in common.
It allows men to marry prepubescent girls and consummate the marriage when the girl is physically able to tolerate it.
Okay, so age of consent is a very interesting thing that Christians would bring up against Muslims because there is no age of consent in the Bible at all. You just don't find it there. So the same stuff is happening in the Bible. So I don't know why Christians would criticize this, if they're okay with their religion doing it. For example, when Moses took vengeance on the Midianites, his soldiers brought back women and children, and Moses was angry that they didn't slaughter them all. So he said, slaughter the boys and any woman who isn't a virgin, and take the virgin women and virgin young girls for yourself. It's pretty self-explanatory as some kind of sex slaves. There wasn't any age of consent there. It's just any female who was a virgin. So there are plenty instances like this in the Bible, so I'm not sure why she's okay with that and not okay with it being in the Quran. Another thing I notice is, specifically, she's part of the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is known for their abuse towards children. They're known for it so much so that the Catholic Church takes out insurance to protect themselves when this happens. That says a lot to me. And if you're willing to support that church and all of the disgusting things they've done as far as like hiding this stuff from people, moving around, the abusers so that way they just don't get in trouble moving them from church to church. Why on earth are you saying anything about this thing in the Quran, the age of consent in the Quran? I just, I don't, it's very hypocritical to me. On top of that, we see things like Trump saying it is anti-Catholic for people to have to report child abuse if the child abuse is confessed during like a confessional. Um, that's crazy. That's crazy. So I don't know why you would bring up this point if you are a Christian and especially part of the Catholic Church. Not, I guess not especially. We all know what happens in all kinds of churches, but we know the Catholic Church is famous for this and gets insurance for this. So
And it urges violence against those who don't believe in Allah.
there are so many examples of violence in the Bible and God making it law or commanding it. So I'm not sure why her flavor of violence is okay and violence in the Quran is not. I'm not saying either, any of them. Any of it is okay, but it's just interesting how she's okay with the violence in her book and not somebody else's. Why? To me, that's just a lot of cognitive dissonance going on. And I want to be clear about this. I have a lot of criticism towards Islam, obviously. If I have a lot of issues with Christianity, that's going to go and be the same for other religions that are built similarly. But it is very, very, very interesting to watch Christians criticize Islam because very rarely is that stuff not also in the Bible or in their teachings or theology. It's been very interesting this past year with Mamdani being elected mayor in New York to watch Christian fundamentalists be afraid of other people who they perceive as fundamentalists. It tells you everything you need to know, right? Like they would not be okay with someone doing to them what they do to other people. They're okay with it if their flavor of fundamentalism controls the entire country. But what they're not okay with is even just a Muslim being in government at all, even though he isn't trying to force Islam onto anybody. They're perfectly okay with discriminating against somebody for their beliefs and saying they shouldn't be elected because they're this certain religion. If that's the case, which I know they don't want it to be because they would like throw up, cry, slide down a wall if somebody were to tell them you can't be in office because you're a Christian. They would scream persecution. We all know that because they already do that even though they're not persecuted. So it's very telling to me that they're so quick to discriminate towards somebody because of their religion and what's in their religious text, but they wouldn't want the same thing done to them, obviously. It's so funny to watch this because they can put themselves in other people's shoes. They know that fear of, I don't want someone's religion to be forced on me if they really believe what they're saying, which is a different story. I think some do, and I think some are other just really bad faith arguments they're making for, the sake of their side. But some of them know that they don't want religion forced upon them and they would have a real issue with it, yet they keep doing the same to every single person in the United States with their religion because they think theirs is right and they think that's okay to force theirs on everybody else. And another point I wanted to make is the main issue this person seems to have with Islam is that it's like not first of all, she seems to describe that she doesn't like patriarchal systems. A lot of these issues she has are with a patriarchal system that she also supports through Christianity. And I don't think she sees the irony there or the contradiction there. But on top of that, a lot of Christians, and I know this because, again, I grew up in the 2000s, a lot of evangelical Christian nationalists have a lot to say about Islam and Muslims, paint them in a very, very bad light. And again, I have my own criticisms, but that's not about this. This is about the cognitive dissonance that goes on between the two. So I always heard they're so dangerous, they're so violent, and that Christianity is a religion of peace and kindness and whatever else. And I was really thinking about it, and besides the fact that first of all, there's a lot of violence in the Bible. We know that God commands it, God does it himself, so many things like that. Also, we have historical things with Christians where they did pretty intense, awful things like the Crusades, the Inquisition, witch burnings, whatever. But on top of that, people expect me to view Christianity as a religion of peace while simultaneously telling me in the same breath that I'm going to burn for all of eternity if I do not believe what they want me to believe. And I'm supposed to accept that as peaceful. So let's say there's no violence in the Bible at all. Half the Bible would be gone, but let's pretend like there's no violence in the Bible at all. There's no history of violence within Christianity. Let's take all that away. It would still be a religion based on violence if there's this threat that the entire religion is based around, that if you don't believe in my God, you're going to burn forever. And again, I know not every single Christian believes in this kind of hell theology, but this is what I'm talking about. It's crazy to be able to think that you can claim that your religion is peaceful, again, when the entire religion is a giant threat. And they'll get around this by saying, you choose to go to hell. God doesn't force you to go to hell. You had a choice. It was free will. It's the same kind of free will you would have if somebody held a gun to your head and said, give me your money or I'll kill you. And the person decides to not give them their money. They get shot. And it's like, oh, so the person murdering doesn't have any responsibility because the person, through their free will, chose to get shot. That's what that sounds like to me, because they kind of act like there's some kind of third party involved in this situation. Like, oh, God didn't create hell for us to go there and blah, blah, blah. He did, though. He did. No one else created hell. God created hell. He created the purpose for hell. I'm amazed at how many Christians tell me, hell wasn't originally made for people like you and me. Hell was actually created for the devil and demons. Originally made for the devil and demons. If God is an all-knowing being, there is no original purpose for something. He knew exactly what he was going to use it for. And so I don't know why they talk as if there's a third party involved. I've noticed that a lot. They talk as if there's some kind of outside source forcing something. But God decided all of this. And let's say he did create it for the devil and demons. He could have very easily created a different space for non-believers to go. It is quite literally that simple. I also think it's really easy for them to claim Christianity is a religion of peace or whatever, because in the United States, there's not a lot of direct violence we can see from Christians to like non-believers in that way, like in a direct way where they're just going up and being violent to somebody. But it's as if they don't really believe what they're telling us is going to happen if we don't believe. Do you know what I mean? Like, it seems like it's easy for them to claim it because there's not, right now, that's not happening in like a real way on a huge scale. But yet they are all telling us we're gonna go to hell and burn. So it's kind of like, oh, you can't judge us for something that hasn't happened yet, or you can't judge us and say we're violent if this thing is a hypothetical. It seems like they think it's a hypothetical because they don't see it as violent. Like, if you truly thought hell was real, that was really gonna happen, that God was really gonna burn people for eternity for not believing, you would have to come to terms with the fact that your religion is built upon violence. And there's really no way around it. It's pretty crazy to me that Christians a lot of people within Christianity pretend like that's something that can be ignored. They're like, oh, well, I believe in God, but it's not through fear of hell. That's if you really believe in this eternal place of fire and torture for not believing, it's hard for me to believe that didn't play a role, right? Like, if you're really convinced you're gonna burn forever if you don't believe, come on. Who wants to burn forever? It's like saying, I'm in a relationship with someone who beats me up. And, they say if I stay in a relationship with them and I love them, they won't beat me up anymore. But that has nothing to do with the fact that I'm staying and I'm choosing to, love them or whatever. I'm going to think that's not true. I'm going to think that's bullshit, to be honest. Like, how can you forget about the fact that they did threaten you? And a lot of people say that free will is so that we're not robots and that we love God, genuinely. How can you love someone genuinely who was threatening you with eternal torture? It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that's all I really had to say. I think when you believe in hell theology like that, and you think stuff in the Bible that is described really happened, there's no way you can claim the religion is a religion of peace. And there's no way you can really criticize Islam for something that is in your book as well. It's in your religion as well. It might come out in different ways, but it's extremely similar. And I just think it requires a ton of cognitive dissonance to criticize them for it and not look inward and say, what does my religion teach? What does my religion do? And that's obvious to me through the beginning of this video where she's pointing out all these terrible things about the Quran and she's not even taking the time to notice that what she's saying is in her religious text as well, is in her community of the Catholic Church as well. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting. It's definitely been a sight to see, again, to watch fundamentalists criticize other people they think is fundamentalists and be afraid of that. Yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you're taking care of yourselves. I hope you had good holidays, and I will see you in the next one.